Welcome to our discussion on Bhagavad Gita Simple Understanding, episode number 66. 7. Just going forward, I'll just give a brief explanation of how the chapters in Bhagavad Gita are divided. This is also explained in the initial chapters, but I'll be repeating again today. So since we're going to the second phase, so Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, and these 18 chapters are divided into broadly 3 divisions: first 6 chapters, middle 6 chapters, and the last 6 chapters. Okay, so the first 6 chapters speaks broadly about Karma Yoga. The next 6 chapters speak about Bhakti Yoga, and the last 6 chapters more about Dhyana Yoga. Of course, in every division there is discussions of various other yogas also, but prominence is given to particular way of doing bhakti, right? So the first 6 chapters where we learnt about karma, how karma has to be done in a detached way. This is what we learnt. Most of the discussions were how activities have to be done in a detached way, how it has to be done with not being attached to the results. This is the main topics, like third chapter of all the fifth these chapters. And sixth chapter, a slight touch about Dhyana Yoga was given. This is Dhyana Yoga was the main topic. But again, even in Dhyana Yoga, how Dhyana Yoga has to be performed. Any activity which is performing becomes karma. So that is where Karma Yoga teaches. But at last, when it comes in the last shloka, where Krishna culminates saying that Yoginam api sarvesham madgatina antaratmanaha shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha, means he who devotedly worships me with his mind focused on me is considered by me to be the best yogi. Where Krishna was explaining about how to concentrate on the aspects of Lord, how to sit in a particular way, where to go in a separate place, so how to do the dhyana, how to concentrate on the mind. So all these things were explained, but going on, and finally Krishna narrows it down to saying that a person who concentrates his mind, or who puts all of his mind onto me, madgante antaratmanaha, means from antaratma, from his own deep inside heart or soul, if he is always thinking about me, is worshipping me, always glorifying me, then he is the perfect yogi, right? So that is nothing but devotion, what he meant. So now from 7th chapter onwards, in the ways of doing bhakti, they more about bhakti, more concepts of bhakti, especially in the 9th chapter, etc. The bhakti has been elaborated. 7th chapter onwards, the link starts. So we will be discussing first 3 shlokas today, and then we will move on. So how these 3 shlokas do, we will see. Okay. So the first shloka is 7.1. I'll read out the shloka. Maya Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Sakta Manaha Parata Yogam Yunjin Madashayah Asamshayam Mam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnanase Tachunam. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, now listen how with the mind attached to me, through exclusive love and practicing yoga with absolute dependence on me, you will know me, the restorator of all power, strength and glory and other attributes, the universal soul in eternity and without any shadow of doubt. Hope both translations are same. Here I am reading them. So Sri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, now listen how with the mind attached to me again. As Krishna entered the 6th chapter, Madgatena Antaratmanaha. Same thing is said here. Maya Sakta Manaha. Asakta means getting attached. So that is what. When we get interested in something, like children, they get interested in playing with toys. Youths get interested in playing with ball or a bat, or it's a more of activity thing. Again, when we grow up, we get attached to something else. That's asakta. That's asakti. The common word would be asakti. So that asakti, when it is translated to God or Krishna, Maya asakta manaha. So when the mind gets interested in Krishna, Maya means me, where Bhagavan is saying me, asaktaha, attached, manaha, the mind. So the important word to be concentrated or to give an importance here is manaha. So we may physically have so much of those tilak and the dresses and all those things may be show off things, or physically we may show our devotions with many attributes and dressing sense, etc. But if the mind is not attached to the God, then there is no meaning in the show off. So Krishna requests, or Krishna says that Maya asakta manha, from mind that person should be attached to me. Partha yogam yunjun madashrayah. Yogam yunjun, doing the yoga. Yoga is here bhakti yoga. Doing the yoga yunjun madashrayah. Ashrayah is to get surrender. Madashraya means with the surrender to the Lord. The first line, Maya asakta manaha parata yogam yunjin madashrayah. Arjuna, now listen how with the mind attached to me with exclusive love and practicing yoga with absolute dependence on me. Okay, practicing yoga. See, we will keep it neutral. We will not lean towards bhakti yoga. But if somebody says karma yoga is great, okay. Even if you are doing karma yoga, if you are doing bhakti yoga or dhyana yoga, anything, that should be absolute dependence on me. Means under any situation there should not be any fear of loss or gain or some other disturbances, anything. Complete dependence, whatever the result might happen, whatever the involvement might happen, whatever the situation may happen, the person is completely dependent on God. Here me means Bhagavan, because Krishna is speaking, he directly says you have to depend on me. Further going, asamshayam samagram mam yata gnasasi tat shruno. You will know me by completely depending on God. You will know me, the repository of all power, strength and glory and attributes, the universal soul in entirety, without any shadow of doubt. So in brief, what Krishna says is, anyone who is attached to me and with complete dependence on me, and if we conduct the yoga, asamshayam samagram mam, without any doubt, whether God will save me or not save me, or without whatever, without any doubt, you will completely attain me, the repository of all power, strength and glory, and after the universal soul in eternity, without any shadow of doubt. That is, if someone performs his yoga completely depending on God, with complete attachment, complete interest of God, then surely is going to attain the result. How that happens, how God reveals to his devotees, that will be explained. Here it is clearly going towards devotion. Why I say is, unless you love someone, you are not going to get attached to him. Here more of love has been spoken. Okay, bhakti yoga, when it progresses, the highest we call it as the love yoga. Like the gopis used to love Krishna so much, they had left everything to him. That is the highest form of devotion. It's prema bhakti. Okay, so that hint has been given here. Maya asakta manaha. Asakta, getting interested in him, getting the mind interested in God. You will get interested in some person only if you love him. You won't get interested in someone if you don't like him. First, there is something, a point called as interest, or you call it as crush in modern language. There is some interest generated on your lover. Then interest becomes attachment, then it becomes love. So that love, that prema bhakti, whatever we have gone through some books about Krishna bhakti or prema bhakti. Prema bhakti is what the gopis used to do, and that is the highest thing. Again, there are 5 different stages: Shanta stage, Sakya, then you have this motherly and parental love, then it progresses, and finally it comes to wife loving her husband, and above that is Paramar loving her lover. So again, those are higher things. So all those hints have been given in Bhagavad Gita here and there. If we dig into the Bhagavad Gita, we will understand them. Then going forward in the next shloka, again we will read out the shloka. Gnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshishyame sheshatah yaj gnatva neha Bhuyojat Janatvam Avishishyate. I shall unfold to you in its entirety this wisdom, knowledge of God in His absolute formless aspect, along with knowledge of the qualified aspect of the God, both with form and without form, having known which nothing else remains yet to be known in this world. See, again, there is a division in these Sanatana Dharma scriptures. What is ultimate God? One sect says ultimate God is formless. It's just like cloud or something like that, which is formless and there's no form. When the uh, normal soul like us gets attached and performs all the devotion, gets detached from this material world completely, moksha happens. Then it merges into the formless. That is one school of thought. The other school of thought is that the supreme human, the supreme being, God, is with form. He has form and he remains in form. And when the conditioned soul performs his yoga activities and gets detached from this material world and finally gets liberated, attains moksha, he will continue to have his own form. That is the form of the soul, not of this material body, but a different form which is spiritual. And he goes to the Godhead, that is Krishna, what we understand here, and he continues to serve Bhagavan, Krishna, because here Bhagavan says me. Everybody is saying me. He is not talking about some third person. He is directly talking about himself. He is directly saying, I am God. Okay? And you have to get attached to me. You have to get worship me. So there is no confusion here that who is God. Krishna clearly says, I am God here. Okay? And he is asking, you get attached to me. He is not asking Arjuna to get attached to someone else. Again, these things will be clear in the 10th chapter, where Vishwarupa of God will be shown, and how all the creations of this world, how all the people who worship different gods or demigods, see that all these demigods exist within Krishna himself, and Krishna is the absolute. So that will be shown in the 10th chapter, but build-up is given to that 10th chapter. Here Krishna is again clarifying that how there are two philosophies in this world, where one sect says that God is formless with no attributes. He doesn't have any attributes, or doesn't have any qualities, and the ultimate thing is everything is nil or zero or Brahman, and the Atma or the normal Atma gets merged into it. So that is the formless aspect. And the second is with form, that even after liberation the Supreme God has form and people continue to worship them even after attaining moksha. So that thing will be clearly explained. That's what Krishna means here. And going on to the last shloka of the day, Krishna is going to speak. Okay, the third shloka. Manushanam sahasresho kaschit yathati siddhaye yatatham api siddhana kaschit bhagvete tattvataha. Hardly one among thousands of men strive to realize me. Of those striving yogis, again, some are one devoting himself exclusive to me, know me in reality. The ultimate understanding of this shloka is that now we are speaking of so many philosophies, so many things, etc., etc. Many people will not understand what we are speaking, because what is happening is it doesn't interest them. First of all, even if it interests them, it just goes away on their head. So among them, say about out of a population of 10 lakhs, only a few thousand will hardly strive to realize me. Means after just brushing off this knowledge, they'll try to understand. See, generally what happens, the general crowd, they have all kinds of problems in their families, they have all kinds of desires, they have all kinds of wantings. In order to fulfill them, they want somewhere to go, cough or vomit their desires, or just go and get it a shortcut. They want it to achieve in some way or the other, so they depend on something, so they create themselves some gods. That is how we see people go to the temples. It may be any temple or a masjid or a church, whatever. If you see there, 99% of the people who are going there are going with some desires or going with some troubles. They go with some troubles, they vomit their troubles to the God, hoping it will get solved. or they go with some desires of wanting, they want something in life, so to get fulfilled they go. So in this way, many people, not many, 99% of people are going, but nobody is trying to understand the deity sitting there or the person sitting there in the temple, that is the sanctum, deity as a person. What does he want? Who is he? No, for what I am going to ask him? And even if I ask him, why will he solve my problem? What is the relation? Now, if I go to a Ganesha temple, why would Ganesh solve my problem, or why would Ganesh fulfill my desire? Or same thing, if you go to a Tirupati temple, or if you go to a Shiva temple, or if you go to a XYZ temple, XYZ masjid or XYZ church, why would that deity sitting there will fulfill your desires or remove your sufferings? What has it to do with you? Right? It's not a free meal. It's not a magician. So these things should be questioned. I just go there and I just say, I have this problem, please solve me. But why will that problem be solved? Or I have a desire to get something. I go and ask, why should that desire be fulfilled? So these questions should be understood. And that's how the jignasa starts. Why a person will go and ask, and how that desires get fulfilled. Or even though if it fulfills or not, that's a different question. But how the mechanical things happen. If desires are not fulfilled, we can easily say that people wouldn't go to the temple, because there is some reaction happening, there is some response coming. That is why these millions of people go to the temples or go and worship. Something is happening. Now, what is the mechanics behind it? So these questions, it doesn't strike to everyone, it will strike to only few. That's what the shloka says. Out of lakhs of people, only 1,000 people may strive to understand this puzzle, and out of them 1,000, only few may go in deep, devote themselves to understand the mechanics. Right? So that is what it means. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yadati siddhate. Okay, sahasreshu means out of thousands of men, only few people will try to understand. Yatatam api siddhanam kaschid mam veti tattva. Out of those thousands of people, even in that only few people will actually know what is what. Because again, out of thousands of people going there, they get diverted into many philosophies, get fooled, and mental concoctions will happen, so many things will happen, and they all lose their way in understanding the ultimate goal. That is why the shloka says, very few people among them will understand in tattvataha. Tattvataha means in actuality, in reality. Now, what is that reality? That is also given by God Himself in Bhagavad Gita. So, in short, what we would like to say is, out of thousands of men who want to know what is God, or what is the technicality of God, or what is this whole mechanics of God going on, when one enters, they get diverted to many philosophies, or many gurus, or many bogus gurus, or many self-made God gurus, conmans, whatever, and they take them to different paths, and finally they cheat them, or the path is itself lost, the goal is itself lost. So how to avoid this confusion? These things don't exist only in the present age. It existed long back also, even during Krishna's period also. That is why in the whole Mahabharata, the war, out of the 16 crore people assembled in the Kurukshetra war, only few handful of people knew who Krishna was. For example, Bhishma knew Krishna was the Supreme Person of Godhead. Arjuna himself was in doubt, he knew only him as a friend. But after understanding Bhagavad Gita, he came to know as Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead. Okay, even maybe Yudhishthira, they knew who Krishna was. Okay, but everybody knew Krishna in some or the other way, but ultimate truth, not many knew. So these things are revealed by Krishna himself, that who is God or who is Krishna. Krishna is himself revealing in Bhagavad Gita. We are not making any good efforts to understand Bhagavad Gita. If one understands Bhagavad Gita, ultimately one will know that Krishna is the Supreme Person of Godhead, and what is our actual meaning of life. why we have taken birth, why we have to lead a life, and why and how to end this life. So these things will be understood only when we understand a small book called Bhagavad Gita, which is not happening. Lot of diversions are there. So we'll try to understand Bhagavad Gita by words of Krishna himself, by understanding his own words. So Krishna again hints that Manushana means, when Shloka previous to it, he was explaining that he is going to explain about both aspects of formless God and form God both, and these things are not understood by everyone in easy way. So we will end this. In the next class we will see how Krishna progresses and explains him, or explains Arjuna, what is meant by God, and what are the aspects of God, and what is Bhakti Yoga. All those things will be understood in future classes. So thank you very much. We'll be ending the class today.